sir. Now let us talk about the Battle of 1965. So, what was the international situation, or what was the cause of this battle? That means pre-war situation we have to describe.
You see, we were a newly raised brigade. The brigade name was 31 Infantry Brigade, and we were located in a place called Dhangadra in Gujarat. Now, you see, before that, 62, 63, the reorganization of Indian Army units was carried out in a massive way. All troops south of Bombay were moved, all operational troops. Training establishments is not consideration, but operational troops were moved to northern areas and western areas of the country because of the threat perception from the enemy, that was Pakistan and China. So they were moved up. A stage came where, if you see the map of India, south of Bombay, there was no troops. Right up to Kanyakumari, no troops there. There were training establishments, but fighting troops, there were no troops. But this was the situation on ground. And suddenly one day we received a signal from Ministry of Home Affairs through Headquarters Southern Command that Pakistan has occupied certain areas of run of Kutch, and therefore we had to move out. Now we were under training, but instructions came to move on as we were. So we had to abandon training activities and move. We had a complete infantry brigade which consisted of 3 battalions: Rajputana Rifle 1 battalion, 1 Mahar battalion, and 1 Sikh light infantry battalion. 3 battalions were there.
Yes, sir, just I want to interrupt here. That we are not able to understand exact meaning of battalion or what company, like that words you are using.
Yes, I'll explain to you. You see, an infantry battalion consists of 4 rifle companies. Each company has got 120 men. 120 men. 4 companies make a battalion.
Okay.
1 battalion has got 4 rifle companies, 1 support company which has got heavy weapons, and 1 administrative company which consists of catering for your food, rations, everything, and logistics in a battalion. So this is a compact unit. They have administratively been distributed in such a way that they could form, and this unit is self-equipped to fight and sustain itself during active operations.
So total 1 battalion means 6 units, 6 companies.
1,200 men. Total make 1,200 men. Now, within the battalion, there is the smallest unit and each subunit is self-contained to fight. Now, there is a section. Section consists of 9 men. They have again got support weapons and what you call the other weapons they got. Then 3 sections make a platoon. 3 platoons make a company, and 4 companies make a battalion. That's how the distribution is there. Now, 3 battalions make a brigade. 3 brigades make a division. 3 divisions make a corps, and 3 corps make an army. This is how the thing goes up, higher up. And each side, the commander designated for these things, like a corps commander is a lieutenant general, what you call, brigade commander is a brigadier, 3 brigades make a divisional commander is a major general. That's how the things are there.
And that another word you use, regiment.
Regiment is, you see, the regiment is a compact regiment, is like Maratha regiment. I belong to Maratha regiment. Now, Maratha regiment has got 28 battalions. 28, but as a regiment you don't go to fight a war, but as a battalion you go to fight a war. Regiment stays back. Now our regimental center is in Belgaum. Like Gurkha centers are all over India. They are in Gaya, they are in Patna, they are in Dehradun. So these how they have spread around. Rajputs are there. They have got separate accounting.
But when we are calling Maratha regiment, that means only Maratha people are there?
No, they are cosmopolitan. They are all cosmopolitan.
Okay.
Yes.
So why it is called?
No, you see, they were initially, during the Britishers' time, they were a very class composite army. Indian army was a very class composite army.
Okay.
We had 100% Marathas. When I joined the army in 59, I was commissioned 1959, we had 100% Marathas in my battalion.
Okay.
There was no other class composition, no Sikh, no Kumauni, nothing of that sort would join Marathas. We were 100% class composition. It was easy to command, easy to communicate. Britishers thought like that, you see. But later on, when it became part of India, the thinking changed and this class composition was broken up.
Okay, but you again tell us about that Mahar regiment was there.
Yes.
So whether these caste-based...
they were caste-based earlier on.
Okay.
They were caste-based, but no longer now.
Okay.
Mahar battalion is a class composition in the cosmopolitan units. All
so
units.
now only names are there, but
No,
cosmopolitan units are there.
no, cosmopolitan units. Now, when we received the information that Pakistanis had come in and occupied certain areas in Run of Kutch, we had to move because borders were then guarded by CRP units, Central Reserve Police units, or the State Reserve Police units, SRP/CRP. These are the units which were guarded by those people. But they were not well equipped organizations. They could not fight. They had no will to fight, not trained to fight. They just had put in uniform and made to stand there. That's all. That was a pathetic state of preparedness. Now, when we moved in, we saw Pakistanis had actually moved into Run of Kutch. And we moved overnight from little Run of Kutch in Drangadra, traveling over deserted areas. We arrived in Bhuj in the morning hours. But there were restrictions on us not to go beyond certain areas. When instructions came from Delhi that you cannot go beyond so and so area. So we held back. We didn't cross over that area. However, the situation kept on aggravating. Pakistanis literally attacked a Sardar post. You know, there was a place called Sardar post created. There was nothing.
Sardar post?
I'll tell you the name. The commander of that unit was a Sardar,
Okay.
Sikh fellow. And it is very difficult to identify one place from another place in desert. Very confusing, because it's vast stretches of sand everywhere. There is nothing. It may be a place called Karim Shahi. Name is on the maps. You will find Karim Shahi. You expect that there would be some houses, something would be there, but there is only sand, and sand, greater sand. That's all. You have to just say it, all right, here, there's not even a tree growing there. So you cannot identify, you cannot specify that area. But this is a very difficult area to move around and carry out a detailed map study of it. You can't do that. It's very difficult. But anyway, our aim was to find our way into the desert and get in touch with the Pakistanis, come in close proximity of it, at least. We came in, and Pakistanis, the moment they came to know that the army has moved in, they became a little bit cautious. So initially what they did was, they put in you heard the name of Ayub Khan?
Yes.
Ayub Khan led this attack in run of Kutch against the CRP unit. A complete brigade attack they launched. The fun of it was that they had two machine gunners who were ex-army, joined CRP unit on their retirement. They never knew that the guns were deployed in such a way that they took the enemy, entire front line of the enemy assault was taken on by these two guns. So we could see that the entire front line was cut down to pieces. They were killed. They were lying on the desert. Now, in that condition, when the information came to us that we took off from Bhuj, a place called Bhuj, which is close to Run of Kutch. We had two Air-OP aircrafts with us.
What?
Air-OP aircrafts. These are reconnaissance aircrafts with the artillery units.
Okay.
So, you see, this is meant to, the aircraft takes off and it becomes an observation post for the guns on ground. It communicates with the guns and directs the artillery fire onto the target.
Okay.
So it is always in connection with the aircraft is in communication with the guns on ground. So guns are directed and then the fire is controlled. Now we had two Air-OP aircrafts. The front aircraft was carrying my brigade commander and the brigade major. You see, these are very small aircrafts. So there are place for one passenger only in that. So the other passenger has to perforce sit on a petrol tank at the back. Now I was asked to get into another aircraft. There was only one seat available there. And I was sitting in the petrol tank at the back. The front aircraft was carrying my brigade commander and I was at the back. We came over the Run of Kutch area and the sight we saw on ground was something which is a very rare sight. These two machine gunners with the CRP unit had attacked these people. When the attack came in, they stuck to their guns and they fired and they took on the entire front line attack of Pakistan Army. And there was utter panic in the Pakistan Army. There were hundreds of people were killed. And the rest, at night they never knew what had hit them and in what proportion and from what direction. So they turned back and started running that way. Our CRP units, on the other hand, they never knew that they have killed so many people. Their post commander was taken away by Pakistanis and they were in utter panic and they started running towards us. So you can imagine at that particular point of time, brigade commander asked my pilot to land on the desert and let me get down from the aircraft and control these fellows. Now you can imagine my condition at that time. I was without my weapons, without any maps, nothing of that sort. And you can imagine the psychological condition of a person who has not realized what they have done on ground. But there were utter panic in those people. They were running towards India. The moment our aircraft went in, they thought it was enemy aircraft. They started running furthermore. But once, you see, human endurance has also got some limits. Now, these people had to stop somewhere for some portion of their time. And they realized that they could not run much more than that. And when they saw me, they recognized me कि I am from the army. And I said, look, आप लोगों ने इतना आदमी मारा है उधर, वापस चलो मेरे साथ उधर. Now, in that particular point of time, they were not convinced. So they said कि हमारा कमांडर को ले गया उठाकर, साहब हम कहाँ जाएंगे उधर. I said ऐसा बात नहीं है, आप मेरे साथ चलो, मैं चलता हूँ. I collected about 30-40 chaps like that, stragglers, and went back to this place where the enemy had also run back, having attacked us. But that time I saw some Pakistanis coming in vehicles, flying red flags. I said, whatever may be their intention, we are not allowed to, I will not allow these people to come up any further.
They were using Red Cross?
No, I was in the ground.
No, these flags were Red Cross flags.
No, just red flags.
What is the meaning of that?
Kutch nahi. They just wanted to perhaps take away their dead and wounded. I said I will not allow them to touch their dead bodies also. So we had some mortar guns, and believe me, my condition, I was just a young captain those days. I never knew how to fire a mortar gun. I was not trained for that. Now, fortunately, in the CRP unit, there were some people who, among this lot which I collected, they knew how to fire the gun. I said, you just fire the damn thing. It has to go work. You see, the gun is located, it's a hollow barrel thing, just like that, standing on the ground, this high gun. And it has a range of 800 yards. But putting the round inside the barrel, all that you have to do is put the shell into the mortar barrel gun and it fires up. There's a plunger down below. It hits it and goes off. Now, the thing was, when they realized this thing had happened, they came to know that Pakistan, Indian Army people or Indian police forces are still holding, and they went back. And that was a breather for me actually. If Pakistanis had determinedly put this attack, perhaps they could have wiped us out. But it was to our luck that nothing happened much more than that. We came back and the more army units moved in. Have you heard the name of General Sundarji? Sundarji?
No.
No. Sundarji later became the chief of army staff. He was the CEO of the Mahar battalion there, a very daring officer. Sundarji came in and he said that he relieved me. He said, "You can go back now, I'll look after the whole thing here." So the regular army troops were lined up by that time. And Mahar battalion was there, Rajput battalion and Sikh light infantry. His position had stabilized. And this is the Indian army troops were there, so we had not to worry. Not to worry in the sense that we were, compared to police effort, our effort would have been much better to defend the area. Now, we got the people done up there, and battle went off for another 14 days, and in that lot of casualties both sides happened. But it was a short war, and that ended the run of Kutch, because by the time our parachute regiment moved into run of Kutch, things had stabilized, and they started realizing that they cannot make their headway into run of Kutch more than what they had done. So we pushed them back to their area, and they agreed to sign on the unconditional ceasefire. That finished the battle of run of Kutch. It was a short battle, 13-14 days.
That was fought in month of April and May?
Yes, yes.
Actually, what was the intention of Pakistan's army? That means, why they fired on Kutch territory?
You see, they wanted to annex the demarcated area between run of Kutch and India. They wanted certain more portion, southern portion of the run of Kutch, because it was not demarcated. They just, as a force of habit, that's all. They had no other intentions. But why should we lose our territory uncalled for? So Government of India stuck to its place. But the area domination was not at all there. You see, what happens that when the far out stretches of land are there, and if you don't show your presence there, the enemy will take advantage of it. And so area domination has to be done by our country everywhere, and this was not being done. So that's how they came in, and we threw them back. That's all.
Can you tell about that some incident I have just gone through it? That
Yes.
About, Chief Minister.
Yes. You see, after the war was over, we were awaiting our move. We were to move to Jamnagar. One fine morning, I received a call from Superintendent of Police, Bhuj. He said that, you know, Keshav, we have news that villagers have dropped an aircraft. I said, villagers have dropped an aircraft? This is very strange news. One cannot expect villagers to drop an aircraft. Strangely enough, a couple of minutes later, I get a call from the collector. Stan Coelho was the collector of Bhuj that time. He rings me up, Keshav, the aircraft has been dropped by villagers. I said, which village is this? They said, village Sutri. Sutri. So I plotted it on the map. Sutri was 78 kilometers from Bhuj. I told my brigade commander that let me go and see the place. And I took my army vehicles, my escort, my wireless sets, operator, everybody, and I drove down to the place. As I came to Suthri village, it was a problem of language, communicating with the locals. They could talk with Kachchi language, and I could not understand a word of it. It was a problem. Huh?
Nobody was aware of it?
Nobody was aware. And it was very difficult, but ultimately I found the village headman, he could understand Hindi. So I got hold of the village headman and he tells me कि साहब कल शाम को इधर से 2 हवाई जहाज आया और ऐसे चक्कर लगाता था ऊपर, बड़ा हवाई जहाज था. His description is, and I drew the aircraft on the ground with my stick. He said कि इस तरह का जहाज था बड़ा. It was a fighter aircraft. I could make out that a fighter aircraft. And then a small aircraft came from India, इधर से. वो ऐसा चक्कर लगाता था सब गांव के ऊपर. फिर थोड़ा देर के बाद में जो नीचे वाला जहाज था, बड़ा वाला जहाज, वो इस तरफ चला गया. And that direction was towards Pakistan. I went to Pakistan. The upper aircraft went up, and when dived down, it came and shot this aircraft, smaller aircraft. Pakistan on the other side thought that it was this smaller aircraft contained some army top brass going, having an aerial reconnaissance of the run of Kutch area. And they had shot it down. I said, किधर है जहाज? साहब वो गांव में पड़ा है. I said, चलो मेरे साथ चलो. जैसे साहब हम तो नहीं जाएगा, कब फटेगा हमको मालूम नहीं है. ऐसे कोई फटता नहीं है, तो चलो हमारे साथ. It was difficult to get these people. You see, that aircraft contained 7 males and 1 female. And I collected all the dead bodies. The lady's body was headless. Her head was severed off in that crash. And I saw a pathetic sight on the ground. You know, somebody's limbs, somebody's torso. I collected 8 bodies. I counted dead 8 bodies there. And I told the village headman, इनको हाथ नहीं लगाना है अभी कुछ. But the villagers they were so scared they would not get nearby. But when we got the information, I got information on my radio that this was the Chief Minister traveling, Chief Minister of Gujarat, along with his wife. They were traveling from Ahmedabad to a place called Mithapur they were going. And the black box of the aircraft we recovered, it said the Chief Minister had mentioned to his wife that we will be flying over Run of Kutch. I would like to show you Run of Kutch. Now, Pakistanis were listening into these areas, you know, their radars are watching these areas. So this was the situation. When I got the information that it was the Chief Minister flying, he was Balwant Rai Mehta, remember his name? Balwant Rai Mehta was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and his wife and the entire crew and his staff, etc., whatever it was there. So we collected all the bodies and put them there. Later on we found out that the Chief Minister No, I rang up the ADC to the governor. Governor of ADC to governor was a chap called Stan Coyle. No, this was, I'll tell you the name of that officer. He's from my course from the academy, Dehradun. And this officer said, my chief minister is here in town. I said, you better check up because we have information otherwise. He said, what information you got? I said, he has been shot. He along with his family and 5-6 people more, they all been shot. I've collected their dead bodies. And the news came in. But it was such a pathetic thing that Government of India, some senior Air Force officers prevailed on Mrs. Gandhi that time to retaliate. It is on record that with this insistence of the senior officers from the Air Force and Army, a mission was flown from Jamnagar next morning. 2 aircrafts took off and they came flying at treetop level. You see, when you fly at treetop level, you avoid radar detection. So they came over Run of Kutch area. Run of Kutch is a plain area, completely devoid of trees, buildings, nothing of the sort. And the aircrafts came in rather low. They flew over to the nearest Air Force place, Badin, and the mission was to destroy the Badin airfield and destroy a couple of aircrafts. That was the mission. But that day they killed 40 people on ground, destroyed the entire Badin air base, blew up, the base was blown up. And the mission took just about hardly 2.5 minutes of this destruction was done, and they flew back. This is what is lacking in the government these days. We lack although we have got the capabilities, we got the guts to do it, but no willpower with the top brass. That is the only thing which I feel we should guard against this thing. Government of India is quite capable of doing much more damage to the Pakistanis, but we don't do that. God knows what is coming in. Yes. So that was the Run of Kutch story, part of it.